Guess who's back? Guys, I missed you. Honestly, I really did. I've been out for a few weeks, for quite a while, so I apologize for not covering the last few weeks of Roma news and reacting to them. I was actually doing an interrail with some friends. We went to Barcelona, and then we went to Paris, and then we went to Amsterdam, and then we went to Berlin. And then it was very tiring. I'm very tired, but I'm back. And I've missed quite a lot, but not too much at the same time. Because I feel like we did a bit, but we did a bit in these last few days. So I didn't really miss much. Of course, Santiago Castro, here we go from Bologna. Quite a bit of a surprise, at least it was a surprise for me when I saw it. I was not expecting us to prioritize such a signing at the beginning. Now we have Fabrizio Romano, who literally 10 minutes ago posted that Angelino is on his way to Deportivo La Coruña in Spain. A few other news on us interested in that Greek defender coming from Fabrizio Romano. Also, yesterday evening, Fabrizio Romano posting about El Azaz. I can't pronounce his name, but a Moroccan guy from Betis, who's actually quite an interesting player to cover that left wing position that we need to cover. At the same time, we got done by Al Hilal on the Somerville deal, which was apparently very close. A few things happened, but nothing major happened. So I feel like I was out in a good period because some things happened, but not much. But first of all, guys, how is everybody doing? Dachi, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Everybody in the chat, nice to see you again. Nice to see you back. We also played a friendly game against Cannes, which I didn't watch, which we were leading, 3-0, and then it ended 3-3. Again, I'm not massively interested in these friendly games. I mean, I'm never interested in friendly games, but of course, whenever we will higher the level of friendly games, I will definitely be more interested in them. I know we're playing Dortmund, the 15th of August. We're playing Brighton in a bit, because in a few days we're going to Wales, where we will continue our second half of pre-season in Wales. And we'll be playing 3 friendly games there against Cardiff on Saturday, against another team, and then against Brighton. And then we've got our last friendly game, the 15th of August, against Borussia Dortmund. So yeah, look, let's react to what happened, to what I've missed, and I still didn't react to. By the way, I'm not using my phone to film for a very long time. I changed computers, so the webcam should be fine. Let me know if it's not. And let me know if the audio is fine and everything regarding the settings of this video. I think let's start with the main, with the main rumor, which is not a rumor anymore, with the main here we go of these last few days. Santi Castro from Bologna, here we go, landed in Rome a few days ago, underwent his medicals. I reckon tonight, latest tomorrow morning, we will have the official statement and the official statement of the actual money involved. Reacting to this, I like it. I really do. I like it. I've always liked the player. I think the player is a very interesting player. I think the player is another player that the manager desperately wanted. And I am very, very, very interested in how the Malen-Castro binomial, let's call it, will work. I'm very interested in this because I really like the player, and I think the player is a very good player. I think there are a few things that I've always kind of admired Castro in. Number one, it's that hookup presence that he gives to the entire team, which is massive for how we want to play. And number two, it's just the intensity that he puts in games. You know, he's a dog. He's a dog in all senses. in all senses, because he puts the heart in every game. He puts his heart in every game. He's a fighter. Again, another Argentinian player added to the list. I'm a very big fan of this signing, to define this very broadly. Now again, whenever I read this, I was like, I like it, but why are we prioritizing this over the left winger? And I partially still think that. I still think that the number one priority is that left wing position. But of course, the transfer window is made of opportunities. And as long as you get all the players that you need, then the order and how you get them matters, but not more than a certain extent. You know, if the opportunity was there to end the Castro deal in 24 hours, which is effectively what we did, because it was a blitz of a deal, something that normally for us is a surprise because we take around 70 days to close a deal, then I understand it. Now again, whenever everyone read the news and the here we go of Castro, everyone started going, what if we're actually signing him because Gasperini wants to play with Malen and Castro together? That can definitely be a possibility. Nobody is neglecting this. I actually think they would be a duo of strikers that would pair up very well because they're very different to each other. Malen is about depth, Castro is about receiving, presence. So I actually think that the two would work very well. But I do not think that the manager will massively change the system from last season, because it's not like we're not going to get a left winger. We are going to get a left winger. It's just that we signed a priority. We signed a striker before a left winger. But you know, it's because one thing is, okay, I signed Castro. I didn't sign a left winger yet again. I'm forced to kind of change and arrange my system in order to favor both of them and start both of them. It can happen in certain games. I don't hide this. It will happen in many games. I think, again, the two would work very well together. But I don't think the plan is to start with both of them together. And the other reason for this is because Gasperini, in every team that he's had, in every team that he's managed, always has massively prioritized an immense selection of strikers. I look at his time at Atalanta, where he needs a lot of strikers and a lot of possibilities, because you never know. Injuries are always around the corner, because you never know. We're higher in the level this season. We're in the Champions League. You need your team to be more competitive. So the more the merrier is definitely how the manager sees it. The more the merrier is the way to go. But this is an exact, to me, when I said that the plan of this summer was, the plan for this manager this summer was to try and keep the most players and add quality signings. This is an example of a quality signing. This is an example of improving your team, because you've let go of Dovbyk and you've replaced him with somebody who is 20 times better than Dovbyk. I watched 10 minutes of the friendly game against Cannes, and it's a friendly game, of course. I hadn't watched Dovbyk in a football pitch for a very long time. I kind of forgot about Dovbyk because he's been injured pretty much every time this season. Those 10 minutes in that friendly game that I turned on my screen on and watched the game reminded me how shit Dovbyk was. So for me, the fact that you've managed to replace Dovbyk with Castro immediately is a massive success, because you've let go of someone who is shit and you've replaced it with somebody who's a very good striker. So for me, this is a very good signing. Again, I'm not comparing the two, but Castro, to me, I see Lautaro Martinez in Castro. Again, I'm not comparing the two. I would never do this. But in how they play, in how they're made, in terms of height, physique, and strength, Castro really does remind me of a Lautaro Martinez. They are effectively very similar. in terms of how they play. So, and Lautaro Martinez and that characteristic of striker is very different to Malin, which is why I say now you've got two very good quality strikers that you can use in very different scenarios against very different teams. Why do you need Castro? Why is Castro immensely vital to how you want to play? Because how many times last season have we played against teams that catch you on a high press and asphyxiate you and you don't know what to do? You know, when you play against these teams, we've got this tendency, our defense has got this tendency whenever we face teams that press high against you of kicking the ball long. Okay? And that's where you need the Dovbyk, but Dovbyk ain't capable of doing that. That's where Castro is going to be massively important, because he's that player that acts as a presence, pivot, whatever you want to call it, for the team to turn around and go. And to me, this is a quality signing, a very good quality signing. So I'm very happy about this. Also, I forgot that another thing that we missed is Çelik leaving, which for me, it's like war is over. I've seen people mad about Çelik saying no to us and secretly signing for Juventus. And I'm like, are you mad? Are you mad? You should be getting the best quality champagne that you have and drinking it the second that Here We Go came out. Because the guy not only is a bitch, but who gives a shit? If he wants to go in that team and play Europa League football, secretly signing a contract with Juventus, let him be. We're not losing anyone. We're losing a bang average player who the only thing that he was good at was actually granting minutes because he was never injured. But every time he played, he more damage than hail, apart from 2 games where I remember he actually played quite well. An absolutely shit player that has left our team. Thank God, hallelujah. I don't want to see people complaining, because if you're complaining about Çelik leaving the club, then oh my God, what were you doing when Totti retired? Jesus Christ. Okay, moving on. Moving on. Now, look, I think the manager wants another signing before we leave to Wales. And we're leaving for Wales, I reckon, tomorrow or after tomorrow. So I reckon in the next 24 to 48 hours, the manager wants another signing. And I think the manager needs another signing, because if we can get to Wales with 2 quality signings, I think the manager would have signed at the start of pre-season for it to happen. Because you're not, again, it takes time. To get quality signings, it takes time. It takes definitely more time if you're Roma, because we're slow as hell. But, I reckon sometimes quality better than quantity, and sometimes it's better to get things done properly rather than getting things done quickly just for the sake of getting things done. I think Castro is a very good signing. Now we need that left winger. If you can get that left winger in these next few days and bring him to Wales so we can have that entire second half of pre-season with the team, I think the manager would be very happy about this. No big player is left. No big player has left the club yet. Again, I wouldn't place my hand on fire that nobody is going to leave. I still think if that offer comes, Manu Kone could leave. I still think Sule is not part of the manager's idea anymore. And frankly speaking, look, I'm gonna say it again. I'd sacrifice Sule. If you need to sell somebody, I'd sell Sule. I'd sell Sule because Dybala won't be fit for the majority of the season. We already know this. But at the same time, for me, look, the way I see this is, For me, it's always been either Dybala or Sule. Like, for me, it's always been this. I have been a, I've been not a fan, but I've been saying this to you, and look, please, like I have been saying this to everyone following this channel. The second we bought Sule, the second you bought Sule. And the second Sule and Dybala played together against I still remember that game, Empoli, when we lost 2-1 in De Rossi's De Rossi as a manager. The second we signed Sule, I said how, for me, it's always either Dybala or Sule. You decided to keep Dybala because the manager wanted Dybala, which for me automatically means that Sule needs to go. Now, somebody's saying in the chat, if you sell Sule, you need a left winger and a right winger. You're absolutely right. But I want that to happen. Because I think Sule is not useful for this system. He's not. So I'd rather sell Sule. Well, you need a left winger regardless. So you're going to get that left winger done. But I'd rather sell Sule and get somebody not necessarily better than Sule, but somebody who can adapt to how this manager wants to play better than Sule. That doesn't mean that you need to get you sell Sule, you need to get somebody triple of Sule's value, because that won't happen. I see more of you sell Sule and use that money to replace him, but replace him in a better way. Replace him with somebody which might not be as good as that left winger that you need, but is more kind of works better in this system. That's the way I see it. So yeah, look. I mean, our transfer window is still very far away from being complete. We still need to get a lot of players, cover a lot of positions, but I like the Castro deal. I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of the player, and I'm a fan of the deal, also because it means Dovbik's gone. Summer's been such a bummer without your videos. Oh, mate, thank you. I missed you guys too. What's your opinion about the new kits? I like the new kits. The second kit still hasn't been released, but it's been leaked. And I think the second kit is a masterclass. The first kit is nice. The sponsor does ruin it a bit, but it's a good kit. It's definitely better than. I mean, yeah, you could argue it's better than last season because the OG logo is back. But yeah, I think the second kit will be the best this season. If we could swap Sule with Leao, would you take it? Considering we also got Castro. Yeah, Leao won't happen. Leao won't happen because he wants a massive salary. I'll sound hypocritical. I'm not a fan of Leao, but I would take him. Because I think what Leao needs in his career right now is a manager like Gasperini. And Leao, Leao is a good player. It's just that he's his ego is massive and he's extremely inconsistent. But if Leao hits his season, he's in the best player in the league conversation. The problem is that he's never in that conversation apart from the year they won the league because his ego is massive, and 7 games out of 10 he walks on the pitch because he doesn't give a shit. but I would do it. I would do it. It won't happen. I know that we've been linked to him, but it won't happen. But I would definitely take Leao. I would definitely take Leao because I genuinely think that Leao isn't a kid anymore. He either fixes his head and actually wants to revitalize his career right now, or he'll be gone in a few years. And I genuinely think that all Leao needs right now is a manager like Gasperini. Again, it's not like Gasperini is the only manager that he needs, but somebody like him who can dictate him, who can fucking blast him off if he needs to be blasted off. What do you think of Mancini back Mancini back as Italy head coach? It's ridiculous, mate. I don't even want to speak about it. It's absolutely ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous that Roberto Mancini is back as Italy coach. And I don't give a shit about people going, he's the best Italian coach that we've had. We've won the Euros because of him. You have literally changed everything to not change anything, which is embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. How are people happy about this? Like, what you brought a manager back who didn't bring you to a World Cup. How idiotic can you be? A manager who, whenever he didn't qualify for the World Cup, ran away to Saudi Arabia to catch as much gold as he could, and now you've got the decency to come back? I think that the more we go forward, the more the football in this country and the Italian national team is absolutely dead. It's absolutely ridiculous. You live in a world of narcissistic clowns. And I don't care what people think. I don't want Mancini as Italian coach. Say what you want. Say that he's a good manager. He didn't bring us to a World Cup and you've brought him back. He ran away to Saudi Arabia when coach of Italy and now has the decency to come back. I've always seen excluding Pep, which I think would have been immense, not because of the manager that he is, but I think Pep would have revolutionized this country's football, because Pep is not just a manager. Pep is an image. Pep is a tactical image. Pep is a football hero. So appointing Pep means that everyone moves towards Pep. You know, if you have Pep as the king and the manager of the Italian national team, you've got clubs moving towards him. You've got the entire football world and football movement moving towards him. So for me, Pep would have been a dream. But other than Pep, I would have kept Baldini, who, as I repeat, in this world of narcissistic clowns, ended up being the realist. Baldini, the guy who got the interim coach that we had 2 weeks after we failed to qualify for the World Cup. But I don't give a shit, honestly. I honestly don't give a shit. I mean, I do give a shit, but it just makes me not want to give a shit, because if you change everything, appoint a new president, change the entire, have new elections, revolutionize, everyone was speaking about the revolution of Italian football, and then you bring back a manager that failed to bring you to a World Cup, then to me, you've changed everything to change nothing. And that's exactly what happened. Why is Roma so slow to make signings? I don't know. It's part of us. Juve fan here. I sometimes check out this channel because I appreciate your balanced takes. If Kone, sorry, my mom's calling. Hang on. Pronto, aspetta, ti richiamo tra 10 minuti. Sì. Ciao. Juve fan here. I sometimes check out this channel because I appreciate your balanced takes. If Kone leaves, do you think you will go for Kessie? Castro definitely seems like a Gasperini type player. Appreciate it, mate. I don't like Juve, as you know, but I appreciate everyone. What was your question? Sorry. Oh, if Kone leaves, do you think we'll go for Kessie? As of now, I don't think Kone will leave. I think Kone only leaves if the offer comes, which still hasn't arrived, and if it's an offer that you can't say no to, then he'll leave. But at the moment, I don't think Kone will leave. If he does leave, then I don't know. I think replacing Kone with Kessie in terms of age, let me just check how old Kessie is, wouldn't be ideal. Kessie is 29. I actually thought he was older. Kone is 25. Wow. Kessie is definitely younger than what I thought. I'm not sure. I mean, the Gasperini likes Kessie is obvious because Kessie had his golden times at Atalanta, but replacing Kone with somebody from Saudi Arabia, I'm not sure would be an incredible move. I see we're closing in on Betis winger Abde as well as Greek defender from Wolfsburg, but in this market we might end up with Rashford by trading Kone to Man United. Mate, I would absolutely do that. Rashford is exactly the player that I would plead on my knees to sign as left winger. I would absolutely do that, and I think Gasperini would do that as well. Again, some people probably don't like him. Rashford in the league like the Italian league Rashford would end the league. A player like Rashford in the Italian league would end the game. Like he'd finish the video game by himself. He would deplete this league. So I would absolutely love a Marcus Rashford as left winger, even if it would mean selling Kone to get him. But the problem and the reason why that won't happen is because, again, just like Leao, Rashford wants money that we can't give him. But yeah, I mean, I know that we've been linked with him, and I know that reliable sources have linked Rashford to Roma, but there's no brain cell in me that believes that. His football wasn't really at fault. We had 31 shots against Macedonia and against Bosnia, and we got pushed back. Look, I don't care, because how you played that game I can't even remember, but you didn't go to the World Cup. So for me, the fact that you've won the Euros with him, which again, I'll say it again as an Italian, 5 years after, I don't even know how we won those Euros. We were extremely lucky, and the reason we won it was because Chiellini and Bonucci were there. Now Chiellini and Bonucci are not there anymore. So I am not saying that Mancini is not a good manager, because Mancini is a good manager. The problem is that this national team is ruled by clowns. And one of the problems why this national team is dead is because it's dictated by clowns. If you, Roberto Mancini, fail to bring the country to a World Cup, and then what you do after this is you run away to Saudi Arabia because they're offering you 40 million euros, whatever the money is. So that's your way to take your responsibility. I didn't bring Italy to the World Cup. My fault. I'm taking my responsibility. I'm running away to Saudi Arabia to catch that money that I will never see again. You choose to do that, fine. But then you do not have the decency, 3 years after, first phone call, do you want to come back? Yes, I want to come back. Because that's not how you behave. And number two, again, he got appointed as manager and Ranieri got appointed as director of football. I love Ranieri. But Ranieri as director of football at our club, again, did more damage than hail. So, I've said this already. One of the problems of this country is that you get positions because of your surname and not because of meritocracy. Mancini does not deserve to return as Italian manager, and frankly speaking, as the biggest admirer and lover of Claudio Ranieri does not deserve to be a sporting director of the Italian national team. Because Claudio Ranieri, as sporting director, what has he proven to be good at other than doing more damage than hail? So I think what would have made more sense was Ranieri as manager. Definitely made more sense to me. But of course, he's old. You can't give him that position at what? How old is he? So I understand the move, but at the same time I don't understand it. Pirlo, like what has Pirlo done to even be considered as Italian manager? That's the same mistake that you made with Gattuso. What did Gattuso do in order to acquire that position? Just because his name is Gattuso and he played at AC Milan, just because his name is Pirlo and he was one of the best midfielders of Italian history, what the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? We are ruled by people that don't deserve to be in these positions. And I'm sorry, but this is why we're not going forward. You know, this is exactly Baldini, who took the Italian national team the week after we failed to qualify against Bosnia, should have stayed. Like him or not, should have stayed, because that is meritocracy. Because he was the under 21s coach. Like it or not, again, this is Roma. World Cup is over, so there is no need to speak about the Italian national team now. But you get the point. You know, you get the point. Conte would have been great too. He would have maybe brought us the World Cup. Italy need to forget the past and focus on the future and develop the next generation. Is Pisilli starting next to Kone or does Cristante retain? I don't know. We'll see. Right. We'll see what happens in these next few hours with El Azazaoui from Betis. I mispronounced his name. I apologize. And then with a few other players. Hit the like. I'm back. I'm not going to go live every day. But we'll see. We'll see where we end up. Hit the like. If we can get 100 likes, it would be great. Subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Simo out.